So we are now live, and this is just the mad scientist having a little play. So we're not doing anything special. I'm Mad Frankie. This is Babe over here, which is otherwise known as Violet Igor.
I didn't think of that.
Never mind what it used to be called. So there we go. I've got a piece of white paper here. It's from my horse tablet. When I say horse tablet, I mean this, which is 300 GSM or 140 pounds. It's A4, which is 8.3 by 11.7 inches. It's 50% cotton, cold press, acid free, basically. That's it. So I'm just using a piece of that and I've cut it in half. So I've got two pieces. So one of them, I'm going to do the trick we learnt last time of putting water on both sides of the paper. So we start with one side. Luckily, this is a nice new sheet without any other colour paint on it, so it doesn't restrict what we're going to do.
Right.
It's just kind of difficult sometimes to see where you've put water and where you haven't.
Exactly.
So you don't want to oversaturate it.
I have a little mini flashlight I keep here that yep.
Yeah, that's handy. I can just tilt it into the light.
Yep.
And then do the other side. Now I want the water because I love this wet in wet technique so much, and I haven't finished playing with it yet. So I'm playing on with it. But I prefer abstracts because I'm such a rotten painter. You see the last time when, honestly, the sea was higher on one point than the other bit. I mean, take a look at this. Look at that. This is just awful. Look at the sea over here. It's about a couple of miles higher than the rest of the sea. It's a stupid thing. And this, the perspective is all out with this because that should be wider than that because that's going at the distance. Not a lot, but a bit. But that should not be wider. And then the rocks aren't quite finished, but I could do with that. But what I'm going to have to do here is enlarge this bit of land here to make sure it's the right level, because that is the right level with that. But these bits aren't. Otherwise, I've done some nice little feathery bits with the moon when I took the masking tape
yes.
fluid off. So that's not too bad. And the sea's improved a bit. But it's not just sea, it's mostly sea over here, but here it starts to get shallower. And obviously my imagination knows that, but my paintbrush doesn't know how to do it. So I've got to look and do some research on that.
Well, here's what I'm going to say to you.
Sorry?
Here's what I'm going to say to you. I watched a gentleman doing some painting and sketching last night. He was doing some sketching with some ink, and he was doing a very interesting sketch, and I'm going to tell you what he said. I'll repeat what he said, paraphrase. He said, if you keep going at it, if you only spend 10 minutes at it each time you get 10 minutes better.
Yep.
If you spend an hour, you're an hour better at it when you get done because you've done that. You've got to tell me what you're doing here. I'm just
putting some colour on in a big splotch, that's all.
What colour?
And I'm going to add a little bit of red to this because I haven't got quite the same colour as this in that. And it could be that this is not going to turn out anything like as good because these were granulating paints. And I'm not sure that Kuretake is. Whether that's a huge bad or not, I'm not sure. We'll find out as we go along.
If you tell me what paints you're using, I can almost.
Well, that's the cadmium yellow. I'm using cadmium yellow there. You'll find cadmium yellow in almost every set of paints somewhere. If you've got wide enough, you might not. You might just get the lemon yellow in a small set, or you might just get the cadmium yellow in a small set. But if you find that this is not spreading as much as you want, like me, you can add a little bit more with a spray to just liven that up a bit. So now I'll go over to this orange here. It's not the same orange as I used in this test piece, but never mind. I'm going to add some to this. And that orange is cadmium orange. It's just a nice, let me put some on here. It's just a nice, rich sort of orange, yes? Just a nice colour. I'm just adding it there. And this is not flooding it enough for me, so I'm adding a bit more on there. I think I added more there, so that should be all right. When I put that down, yes, that's better. So I've got a sort of lighter ring around because I've put the cadmium orange in the middle of the cadmium yellow. And I might, just to be silly, I might add a little bit of cadmium red, just a little bit. A little bit. So that was quite pigmented when I first put it down. Now I'm spreading it out a bit more. I'm going to add a little bit more spray to that one. That's better. Right. Rinse brush, change colours. And I'm going to go for a grey. Now we've got in here, we've got a grey, which I think was the mist. See, it does get quite dark there. But I think I might have added something else to that. So let's look for let's do a bigger, wider brush. More like this. Let's try for something that's this sort of colour. Now I've got a grey here, which says just grey, number 21, grey. So I'll put some of that grey there. It's easier than just looking for the position, I find. So that's grey. Pop a little bit of that on there. Now I don't want to have too much colour in here because I found that when you start adding more than 3 colours, I've got 3 there already in this bit and here, but I'm hoping that will meld in. And then I'm just using shades more than colours, so that's 1 shade, hopefully, sort of thing. Well, 1 range of colour, anyway.
Well, I don't think I have any gray in this Kiritaki set.
Well, you can always do something with white and black, can't you?
Right.
Mix black and white.
I just
I've half a mind to just add a bit of black to this as well anyway. Now I've got a palette here that I was using the other day in the Rosa Gallery one. So I could put some of my grey in there. Add a bit more because there's almost nothing left on the brush. Rinse my brush. Go into the black and just add a bit of that, not too much. It darkens it quite a good deal. And a little bit here. A little bit here. Now that's gone a bit brownish because it's mixing with the yellow. That's fine. That's fine. Added a little bit more of the darker. A bit more of the darker. So then I'm going to rinse my brush again, and I'm going to go into add more black to this colour I've mixed, which isn't much left of it. So I'm going to some of that, and I'm going to add some more grey to it. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the indigo blue. Just a tiny touch. That's indigo, isn't it?
There we go.
Right, I'm going to add the tiniest little bit of that there. The rest of it's going to go on there. So I'm just mixing it in there. So it's sort of like a dark grey, but with an indigo an indigo bit to it. So we'll put this here. There we are. That's nice. I like that. I'm going to add some here as well. Now I'm going to let that dry, and I'm going to, while I'm doing it, I'm going to mix up, while that dries, I'm going to mix up some more of this, a little bit of black. There. Rinse brush, some more of the grey. If you could just mix, well, excuse me, my teeth just fell out. You could mix just some grey with the, get some grey by adding a little bit of white to it, a lot less than I've put in here of the grey. That will give you a better grey. And then a tiny touch of the indigo. So you've got a greyish indigo, really, is what you've got. And if you think that's a bit too bright, a bit too bluey, you can always add a tiny touch more black to it until you're happy with the colour you want. I added a bit more black there, so it should be a stronger colour. And we just pop it down any old way like this. A bit more. I just want a bit of, that's good because we've got a nice, we've really just got this one sort of colour. It's well mixed with 3 colours in it. We've got another colour here that's well mixed with 3 colours in it, but it's really just 2 sets of colour, which is what we've got, right? So I'm going to leave that at that. It's not quite the same as this one. This one was using a brown as well, and it was using 2 yellows in some of them, I think, because I started with 1 yellow, and I thought that wasn't quite bright enough, and then I added a brighter yellow, I think, to this one. And possibly to this side here, but the orange was part of it as well. You can see the orange a bit there, but this was the brown. So, I mean, it's got more colours than it ought to be, really. But that looks good as it is. It's just simple. It's not too over the top. Now, you don't have to do diagonal lines. You can do something else. So while that is drying, we will play with, I've got to find somewhere to put this palette down. We'll play with the other sheet. So I'll pop that down somewhere to dry. In fact, I might give it a dry first. Yes, I think that's probably a good idea. Because it's somewhat swampy. So I'm going to give it a dry. I'm just going to turn the sound off for me. I dry it without getting in your way. You might have missed that, but I noticed some fingerprints on here, this from me. So I went ahead and I tried to add some to here. It didn't work. Tried to get some off there to add to there. It didn't work. But I found that going along the edge here did work and gave me a sort of fingerprinty look to the edge there. I quite like that, doing the whole thing. Got a little bit of the colour on me there. So that's something to do. I'm going to finish drying. Now this is not completely dry, but it's still a little bit cool in places. You can feel it a bit damp at the edges, but it's usable. And you can see how the drawing has given us this nice little piece here. The fingerprints I rather like. I like these smudges, and the bits I tried to add as well. They worked out quite nicely. I've got a rather nice little funniness going on there, and something odd featheriness going on here, which is rather interesting. I like that. So let's do another one and see what happens. We'll put that one aside. Now there's the other sheet I had ready. Okay. Now I'm going to have to wash that out. I mean, look at that. That is awful. I'm going to have to go to another pot or something. Have I got another pot? I have got another pot. Good. Let's go to another clean pot to put clean water on. Make sure I get that properly wet. No funny little areas that aren't wet, which I have got, so I'm making sure. You can see that that's not completely wet either. The rest of it wet. Oh no, some bits there that aren't quite wet. Now I'm using my fingernails to hold this down because these hands are a bit grubby now. Bit bad. Turn it over. I did clean this up before, so there shouldn't be too much funny colour going on there. There we are. That's as well wetted as I can get it, I think. I don't think I've left any areas. Let me just check. That's pretty good. Right. In fact, I can keep that open to use. We'll go back a bit. So, let's use the big fluffy one again. Rinse it in there a bit, and then rinse it properly in the fresh water, so I've got fresh colour. So we can do the same thing, but oh dear, look at that. My colour is dripping on there. Let's just clean that up a bit. It's because it's standing upright. I should have done this before, done the colours on there. I haven't. Yeah, tough. So let's have a try with some similar colours, but I'll put this away for a moment, or just out of the way. I can reach it when I need it, but I don't need it just now. So, shall we go for well, let's just go for the cadmium red. We'll do the cadmium. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's do the lemon yellow first, because some people may only have lemon yellow. So we'll do lemon. I have got aureolin next to it. I might have a go with a bit of that. So I'm going to do this a bit differently, trying not to get it quite so straight lines, you know. I'm trying to remove that hair. There we go. Lemon yellow again. Another hair. This is not a very expensive brush. Can you tell? I can. Didn't got one there. There we go. And now a bit of the aureolin, which you could use the cadmium orange for that. It's just a slightly, if you look at it, just a slightly more deeper yellow. You know what I haven't got? I haven't got my headphones on.
I know. There's a bit of an echo, but only if I talk. And
okay.
And I'm trying to be quiet, so there's no echo heard.
I like that orange or reddishness you've got there. That's lovely.
Yeah, I mixed that up in my Altoid tin.
There you go.
But my paper has buckled right here in the middle, so things are running that way, and it's making. That's why I have to keep daubering because I'm getting puddles, making me crazy.
Well, sometimes the puddles can be your friend. If you're doing abstract, sometimes it doesn't matter because it just creates another pattern for you.
Yeah, but I think it's going to take a week to dry.
Not if you've got a hairdryer.
Yeah, it's upstairs. I'm not going to get it. I'm lazy.
Okay.
But I do. I really enjoy using my napkin to pull up some of the color.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's fun. That. Yes, I didn't do that on that one, but yes, that is fun.
Yeah.
Cadmium red again. This is.
And I think I'm just about done with this before I turn it to mud.
Yeah, I should stop and dry that now. You can soak up that long red line you've got at the bottom.
This right here?
No, there. No, there on the bottom. There. Or is
This,
that something underneath?
that's washi tape to help hold it down.
Okay.
It's not really doing its job though. So I'm going to pull it up and let it do its magic.
Right, I'm going to do the same thing again with the grey. Plenty of grey there. And using the dirty grey water because it doesn't matter so much with that. A little bit of the black. A little bit.
I meant to leave some negative space and I guess I didn't. I guess I could.
You could. I haven't. Yeah, not enough. It's too grey still. I want a bit of a bluiness in it.
My camera is not taking the white paper well, and I don't have good light in here. Your yellow and orange looks so vibrant compared to mine.
Oh, I liked yours better than mine.
Well, there you go.
Now I'm just putting this mixed colour down instead of putting down the grey first. Probably a mistake. I've done it now. It just depends on how you feel like doing it, doesn't it? Oh, that's quite deep there. That must be quite quite dry. So I'll add a little bit more of this up there. That's better. Let it seep in. That's better. Getting a bit more swimmingness with it. Yeah.
So I'm going to change paper. I'm going to use a mixed media paper, 98 pound. That's not very good, but it has held the watercolor well for me in the past. So I'm going to move this out of the way.
Now what I'm going to do this time is a bit different. I'm going to go just into the indigo itself, straight in, and just put some in the centre of these patches, just to deepen the indigo blueness of it. Seems I went in with the grey. Now go in with the full force one. A little bit round here. It's creating some darkness here with this. I'm not sure whether I like that or not. I sort of like it, but it's lost the contrast. Maybe I can get some of that back by using the lifting out technique. There's a chance. If I lift some of this out here, I get almost back to raw paper. Like that. And then I can go back in. Not with that one. That's the lemon yellow again.
Hold the phone.
I'm a greener colour now because it's now mixing with the indigo. But there we go. Let's try. And I'm still getting a lot of flooding in here. But tough. Try some of the aureolin. I want to go over it again with the wrapper. Oh, I need to rinse that. Blue does make it murky quite quickly, so I can't put that. Red. Again. Now that's quite different from the way it started out. I had quite a lot of colour here when I started. Bright colour, I mean. Now it's sort of subdued down because of the amount of grey and then plain indigo I added. And the paper was so wet, so I might do. I'm going to do some marks. They'll remain very well. I'm going to do using my fingers. Like this. And I thought I might add a bit more indigo to here. Now that's probably a really bad idea, but I can't help myself. I'll give it a go. And look, I've got some lovely colours on this piece of tissue, mop-up tissue. Indigo. A little bit of indigo here. Indigo here. Quite dark, because this is, I think Denise Love calls this, now that I've got little water in there, a lot less water than I did have with the brush, and I've got a fair bit of pigment, she calls it, what does she call it? Damp in wet. Because this is still wet, but not as wet as it was, but this is more like a thicker pigment, more pigment. I picked up more pigment with my brush. Indigo. See, all the little fingerprints have gone, so I'll try that again later when it gets a bit drier. It worked on the other one when it was a bit drier. Guess what? I found the bottom of the pan on the indigo. I've used so much of it.
Oh, you know, Jackson's, I think, had some Kuritaki's individuals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they are out of stock of most everything else Kuritaki, but I think they had some individuals available.
Okay. Well, I'm quite happy with that now. That's still got some blending, but not a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start drying and hope to get some fingerprints in while I'm drying. Okay. Okay, let me turn this sound off. And can you see I'm also using the heat gun to push the red colour out because I want a bit more of that. And by the way, this is not just a plastic sheet. It's one of those ones you're supposed to be able to put in the oven, I think. So it's, I think it's that one. I know I've got some like that. I might have picked up the right one. I might not, but I think that's the one it is, which might mean that's why it's not melting when I'm using the heat gun on it.
Yeah, it's silicone.
No, it's not silicone. It might have silicone impregnated in it. I wouldn't know, but it feels just like black plastic, textured black plastic. So we'll see. Now I've noticed some splatters on here from picking it up from underneath, and I quite like that. So I think I'll have a go and see if I can do a bit more of that. Now that was in the indigo, so let's see if I can put little drops of indigo in. There isn't much indigo left. Big white patch in the bottom of me pan. I have got indigo in other colours. Now I've saturated that with water as well as the indigo. So let's try with it on here first. I've already got saw me putting those fingerprints on, and some of them, the paint was too dry but quite thick. So what I did was I got wet my fingers and put my fingers in there, waited a few moments, and then after a few moments, mopped it up like that. You can do that with this one here. Look at that one. No, not so good because it's too dry underneath to pull out from underneath. You really need to put water on for that. So if I'm tapping it here, I'm getting little bits in there, which is what I want.
You mean like this?
I can't see, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Let me get you solo, then I can see you. Ah, yes, yes. Did you put, is that just water on there at the moment? Or
What
colour? Those spots, are they water or colour?
They're my finger.
All right.
Yeah, I made dots.
Yeah, you'll notice you get a nice little mark there, but which then fades while you wait.
Yep.
I'm not sure how to preserve that. That might be interesting if you could preserve that. Maybe, I don't know whether heating it quickly would do it.
I'm okay with that. It creates a halo. If you can't see it so much on your vision, but here in real life, it creates a bit of a halo. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, that's what I meant. When you first put your finger down, you get a halo, don't you?
Yeah.
That's to do with the wetness of the paper and the pigment of the ink or something. Or you put your finger down and it sort of creates a capillary effect of some sort.
Yep, you're moving it.
So I'm going to add just water now.
Okay, where's my straw?
And mainly on the coloured, the bright coloured parts. And I'm going to get another towel because I don't want to put dark colour on there if I can avoid it. I just want to get what's already on there, that's all. Right, so let's... Yes, that's pulled some up. Lovely. That's what I wanted. Do some more here. Lovely. That's good. That's good. That one there. Yes, lovely. There we go. I like that. I'm really quite fond of that. Let's pull these ones up now. These bits of water here. A little bit of water there. The colour, I'm trying to leave the spattered colour. I should have just dried it first and then put the water on afterwards, but I'm too much in the zone to stop and think about sensible things like that. But there we go. That's looking good. What did I do with the other one? I put it over here. There's the other one. Lovely. I'm going to dry this one completely now. So here we go. I'm going to be loud again.
Okay. I think I'm just making mud.
There's nothing wrong with mud.
Sorry, what?
And I think I'm just making mud.
Oh yeah, let me see. Try drying it.
Okay, I gotta go up. Well, I have to take it over there because I don't have an outlet here for my blowgun,
Okay.
for my
Okay.
heat gun. So I'll be back.
I'm just adding a bit more water to this bit here, which I noticed doesn't have so many spots. And I might even use the spray itself. Let me spray it over there away from the dog. Make sure it's working. Right, now let's try to do a little bit. Oh, that's too much. Huh. Oh, well. Where's my tissue? What do I do with the tissue? No tissue. Oh, we'll get a new one. I know I had one a moment ago. Put it down. Nobody knows. So I'm going to pull these spots out, but I'm not going to pull that bit out because that was a bit too much. So I'm just going to dry that as it is. Good, I'm quite happy with that. So I've now got this one and that one, and they're using the same colours, but with different ways of doing it. Like I added very little of the red in here and let it move quite a lot before I did anything to it. Then I added the grey that I made with the black, grey and indigo to this, but I put the grey on first, then the black, then the indigo in the centre. With this one, I mixed the black, grey and indigo and put that on, and then I put more indigo on. But I've got the same colours here that I've got here. I just put, and I put the yellow, then the aureolin, so it's lemon yellow aureolin, so it's a different yellow, which he already knows. Then I put some of the cadmium red on top, and it started to melt too much. I didn't let the blue dry enough. So what I did is I went back, soaked up some of the water, the painty water, and tried to add more of the colour, but I put more red in than I had before. But that's right, that's okay, I like that, because it's giving a different look to it. And then afterwards, before it had all dried, I went and put my fingers here, and sometimes it pulled it up, and I got some nice patterns like over here. And over here, I think it didn't pull up so much. So what I did was I went in with the tissue and just mopped up those water. I put water on my fingers and put the water down and mopped it up after a moment or two. You've got to wait for it to sink in enough to make an impression. And then I went over and dripped some water just on from my brush, just on this piece here, these two coloured bits, and it's given this lovely little spottiness here, almost like stars in a distant galaxy. This one is plainer, but you can see that you can get two entirely different effects using the same colour range. And I think that's so much fun. I think that's marvellous. So the next thing to do, there we are, just about. So the next thing I want to do is to put the paints away, or at least put them out of the way, maybe not away.
And there's my muddy results. It's overkill. I overdid it.
Well, I find I do that. It's not bad, but I find I do that when I do too many colours and they mix together too much, which is why the idea of drying it and then putting more colour on if you want more colour there is a better idea. And I think in a way that worked there, even though it was starting to get muddy, and I soaked up the muddiness and started adding the colours I wanted back down again. Now, they weren't as big as they were before because the blue had flooded into the areas, but I still managed to pull that back, I think.
Well,
it's just practice, isn't it?
But it is what it is. It can be embellished and then cut up. Not a bad thing.
Marks on your blue there. Those are lovely. Those marks on the that. Yes, that's lovely. And I love how the blue has gone into the yellow there at the top. I'm trying to point and it's not working well. Now up there. I love that bit. That's lovely. So you got some really nice stuff there. Now dry that. Did you dry it? You did, didn't you? You went away.
Yeah, it's dry.
Did you only do the one or did you do two?
I have a big one, but I'm not going to stand there for an hour drying it. It's over there drying, so we'll come back to it.
Okay. Well, that will dry in a slightly different way, so that will be interesting to see the result of that. That would be lovely.
Thank you.
So now that we've got these, we can do other things with them. Now, this one I'm going to leave because it's got quite a lot of interest already with all the different spatters. Like it's got the light spatters here and it's got the dark spatters as well as the fingerprints underneath. So it's got quite a lot going on. So I'm going to leave that for now to one side. This one has less going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a smaller brush. I'm going to bring the paints back actually because I've just decided I'm going to put some more colour in there. And I'm going to put some... Yep, let me sort out that water first and get a different one. Come back here. I've got one with a lid on, and I'll take the lid off. Right. Now I'm going to put, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray a little bit of water down here and a little bit down there. And then I'm going to get some indigo. I know I'm using a lot of indigo. I can't help it. I love it. And put that down there and let that move around with the water that I've just sprayed down. Can you see how that's moving?
Yeah, you have to adjust your camera again. We're a little bit off.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
There you go. That's good. That's good. Yeah. Oh, great.
Now, a little bit more indigo for this one, which I've just... You can see that it's spreading. It's not going on flat because I sprayed it with the water again. It's been thoroughly dried, but I've now sprayed it again. Not too much. I don't want to do it too much. There's a little dry bit there, though. And then I want a little bit in this corner. Because I'm going to put a little bit in there. A little bit more. A little bit in there. And a little bit more water, because I think that's a bit too dry. Lovely. That's better. That's better. So I'm just getting that little bit of melding in. And I'm not going to add any more because it's something, there's very little bit of paint here, but it's something really interesting happening there on the paper. And this piece of water has gone down there towards this piece. And I'm going to put a little bit here and add some water. I think it's better to add the water first and then the colour. Because you get, oh, look at these little rivers coming. Oh, nice. I'm going to add a little bit more to see if that will river a bit more. Yes, yes. Ooh. Yes, so that's all I'm going to do with that one. Because now I can dry it again and do something else with it. Something completely different. And now for something completely different. Only not better. So I'm going to try and dry that now. There we are. Now I've got something interesting happening over here. I've got that funny little bit there, this sort of fringing here, which is lovely. And then there's that nice little bit there, which goes rather nicely with the nice little bit I noticed earlier down here. So I think that's pretty decent. and I've got a bit more definition in the colour here, which was just a soft grey before. So now we've got a bit more colour with adding the indigo there. I think that's brilliant. I think that's lovely. Now we can leave brushes, or at least possibly leave brushes. So what I'm going to do, I could use some gold from here, or I could use some gold from here and here, like I did the other day in the other one. I could certainly do that. What brushes I want for this. So in here, I use this pan for the gold and the silver. I've got silver as well and red, but I'm not using red today. Tissue, tissue, tissue. Mop it up there. Right. So I'm going to use this for the gold and silver. Right. I'm going to put a little, give this a good shake. This is Beijing Yidji. I don't know what it means. I got it off I got it off Ali, because they get stuff from China much more easily than other people. So I've got some of this one, which is a rather nice gold, I thought, and awfully difficult to open without getting it on your t-shirt, which I've just managed to do. Oh no, it's only a dried bit. Thank goodness for that. I've got a nice new t-shirt on. Right. Dribble, dribble. There we go. Nice bit of gold. Now was going to use this brush, but have I got anything thinner? I tell you what I'd quite like to try. Some gold with the fan brush, which I've not done. Yeah, dipping it into the gold. I might even do this. You get a lot of colour down at once doing that. There's a use for a fan brush. I've not thought to do before. Batter first, because I want to see if I can get any on there. And then when I can no longer get any off the brush, and turn it around and do the other side as well. I get this bloom. Great. There. Oh. Lovely, I like that. Right, let's have a bit more of this. Feel like I need it more. You have to shake it because there's a milky liquid that the carrier, I presume. Now these gold specks are showing up much better on the dark areas, which they would. You understand that? Oops. There. Right. A bit more, go to the edges. See how it spreads? You've got breaks in the smoothness of the brush. I like that. It enables it to go down as a load of dots all in one go. You see that? It's gone down as a load of dots all in one go. Isn't that clever? Deliberately trying to get a sort of arc motion here. I don't want it to just be straight. That's pretty good. I like that. Right, let's clean that up. Oh, I put the look at that. I put the lid on the water. What a dumbo. There we go. Rinsey poo. Let's have a bit of silver. Little bit of silver. Shaky, shaky. There should be a rattle in here somewhere. Gets going. Oh well, that'll be enough. Let's just hope I don't spray any on this shirt. There we go. Now, this is quite sort of bending down a lot, so if I put the lid under there, that's more flat. That's lovely. Now I can add some silver dashes over here. Let's see if any will come off. Lovely. Oh. That was a mistake, but we're going to have to live with it. But I've smudged it out a bit so it looks more like a sort of distant galaxy or something. Let's take advantage of it and just move it. It's almost like there's been a lightning strike there. That's not too bad. Let's do another one of them by mistake ones. Right. And take the corner out. There you go. Almost looked like a spread-eagled man, that one. But I still want a bit more butter. Bit more ink, I think. Oh, the spatter's happening all right. It's just going all over here. Bit more ink, please. Thank you. Put some more on this one. Now, the other thing I like to do, after clearing up, there's a lot to clear up here. Let's clear this up. It's going to take a bit of cleaning, I think. That ink seems to dry really fast, which is nice in a way. So let's dry this as well, so that now that we've got a dry area to put it on, let's dry this as well. Then it won't smudge as I'm doing something, because I want them to do more. So drying, here we go. And of course you can just let these things dry naturally. Drying it with a heat gun, you can sometimes create a bubble like I've got there.
Yeah.
But I don't care. I don't mind. So, is that one nice and clean now? Kind of. Now, get some silver on it. Now we've started with some marks here, so let's do a few more on in the same range. Trying to use the brush as lightly and delicately as possible so as to get a really thin line. The thinner and smaller than the least number of hairs you've got, the smaller marks you make. Some people, really delicate painters, will use a brush with one hair in it. I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Now I've got this one, which is a bit longer, you see, but it's looking quite fuzzy. You know, lots of hairs in it, so I'm not sure if I'm going to use that one. I might try it in a minute or two. But in the meantime, let's just do a bit more of this one. I want to drag that out a bit because it's looking chunky there. So if I just drag that out. There we are. Sort of like lightning flashes. and elongating these stubby ones into something a bit more delicate. And I find it's best to always drag away from the thing, because then if you get a fat line when you first put your brush down, you can lift your brush off the paper a bit and elongate it and make it thinner. And it becomes very difficult to see then, which is what you really want, because you want it to be faint. Well, I do. Now we've got some big bits here, which I'm not too keen on, so I'm going to exaggerate that and then pull it off. And the same with this one. And a bit more from at the top. I'm going to stop it from looking too much like a 5, which is what it started to look like there. And give it some more lines. So that must be a galaxy where you've got a black hole in the middle and you've got a sun here, a star that is being dragged into the black hole. That's my excuse for that one. Yeah, now I've got 3, 4 there, so let's try a bit more here. I try to get a little bit, dampen the brush, but then stroke most of it off so that I've got a very little amount on there that I can pull out to nothing, which is what I'm trying to do here. Try not to be so hasty. When I was hasty there, it flattened down a bit to become a thicker line, which I wasn't so keen on. Try to do it gently and calmly, just as if you've got all the time in the world. So that's quite thick at that end, so we'll go back to there and pull it up. And again. And again. That's not too bad, is it? That's quite nice. And you can take these lines into the other side, but I was keeping the gold more for there. But you can. Nothing to stop you if you want to. You could start off with just gold in that, silver in the whole area. You don't need to put any gold down at all. The silver is quite impressive. Like, I can take one of these lines and pull it into there. Lifting the paintbrush up as I'm doing this so that it's very slightly, because you want it still in contact, but you want it to, you want it not to be shaped like like that when you're doing it. You want it to be shaped like that, so only the very tip of the brush is in contact, the very, very tip. And if your brush flattens out to create a sort of bullet flat shape at the top, turn it slightly so that you've got the thinnest area in contact, the fewest bristles in contact. That will give you a thinner line. So let's see what else we can do. Got a little bit going into there. What about a little bit going into it from here? So we do another piece here, and we're happily doing it here. And doing it here, going into the yellow. And then perhaps from here, drifting it downwards into the black. And perhaps from that bit. from there. So I've got a little bit crossing over the boundaries. Can do the same with this piece here, which is quite close to the black.
You're mainly off camera.
Am I? I'm
We
sorry.
see half your card and half your paint palette. So
I'm sorry, we don't really need to see the paint. You know that it's got silver and gold in it. That's all that's there. So I'm just taking this. And let's take from this fat bit here. Doesn't matter if there's a gap. You can always either connect it or leave it. Maybe there's a wisp of cloud in front of it and you can't see it for that reason. Lovely. So I think I'll have another one up here. And put a bit more paint on the brush there. Picking areas where there's a bend to turn it into a branch, or even where there isn't. There we go. So it's going down a little bit into the black there. I think this bit here where it's going into the darker black is really effective there. Lovely, lovely. I don't see that there's a lot more I could do. I could do one on the edge and take it down. Perhaps I will. Perhaps we'll have one in amongst this little cloud here. Perhaps this is a representation of the Laniakea. Or is it Laniakea? Can't remember. It's we're in our solar system, which is in the galaxy, Milky Way, and the Milky Way is in the local group, and the local group is in the Laniakea. It's just bigger and bigger names for sections of bits.
I said that's beautiful. Put that in my pile, will you? I've got to make some piles for people. I don't know why I decided suddenly to add a bit up there. That was completely... Probably just to get something down here. I think that's good enough, that. I don't think I need to do any more on that. Let's have a look at what the other one's doing. That's really looking quite nice.
Lovely, lovely. So where did I put the other one? Oh, it's over there. Now this one will probably have the silver show up better because it's quite a bit darker. So we'll see what happens. So where's my fan brush gone again? There we are. Bit more ink, I think. You could probably do this with watercolors as well. I mean, if you look at this Kiritaki set, you can see that there's some couple of golds, a silver and the white. Those would probably work quite well. And if you've got a light background, the black would probably work quite well as well. So, yeah. You don't have to use inks. You can use the watercolors. In fact, why not try that? Let's try that and see what happens. We'll try the silver. I'm going to put some here. Bit more. Give us a good... Right, let's see what happens. Here's where we start spattering everything again. Well, that's working quite nicely. Oh, no, I've got some black on the edge of that paintbrush. Because there was a little dab of black there and it's finally dissolved into the silver. So we won't use that bit. I think I need a bit more silver in the silver. That's enough. So it's not quite as strong as the ink, I notice. But it is definitely there, and I would now dry this before doing anything else. So she's hastily putting down the wet paintbrush. Just tidy this up a bit so it's not getting more colour on your hand or your paintbrush or back in the picture. Right, excuse me, just going to dry it now. Sorry. Time out, time out. Now that didn't wet the paper very much, so I didn't have to dry the other side as well. When you're using a lot of water on the front, spraying a lot of water on, and you've already wet the underneath to make sure it doesn't buckle too much, you're going to have to occasionally dry both sides. But with those spatters, it wasn't necessary. So let's get this up. This is the silver ink again. I think the ink is acrylic based, but I'm not absolutely sure. Because, of course, it's all in Chinese or Japanese. So I think it's Chinese calligraphy inks or whatever that's made of. That's probably made of that as well. So I've got some bigger splashes here, like here and here, which are not round and they appear to be something else. So let's turn them into something else.
It actually, when you turn it like that, it looks like a rainbow mushroom.
A rainbow mushroom? Weird.
Well, that mark, that red at the top, kind of looks like a mushroom cap.
Here? Or there?
Yeah, there, when you turned it the other way.
It does a bit, yeah. Yeah. But I'm doing more abstract than that. You could turn it into a mushroom if you wanted to. I mean, if you've got something that looks as if it ought to be something and you want it to be that something, go ahead. Nobody's stopping you. Your art is your art. You know? If you've got mushroom impulses, go right ahead. I do have mushroom impulses myself. but not at the moment. Make this a bit bigger because I want it to look more like a center of something. I keep turning my brush to try and get the thinnest edge, or you could just go like that and thin it out and try to get that as a thinner edge, because it does do that for a while. Lovely. And actually, you don't have to do lots of these things if you don't want to. You could just start with one and quite an intense area in the beginning, in the center, and just pull out from that one piece all over the whole thing if you wanted to. I don't know if I want to or not. I'm thinking about that. It's quite a nice idea. You just keep on pulling out little strands, adding a little bit more here and there, and another bit over there, and you'll just keep going. Of course, you can also have a go with a black pen. I recommend something like a number 1 micron or an 01 micron, which is really thin, really small. And where did I put my micron? I don't know where my micron's gone. My micron's gone. My micron's gone. I don't know where my micron's gone. I shall have to think again. I can see some microns there. I wonder if one of those is the right one. This one is it. There we are. 01. Oops, sorry. Trying to get it in the camera. There. 01. It's not 0.1, it's 01. I don't know whether that's different to 0.1 or 0.01 or 0.1 dot, or who knows. But it is very, very thin. So it's going to give you a beautifully fine, thin line. You see, compared with the brush, you can see it is quite thin. That's the two on the same level. Okay.
Try putting your hand under it.
Okay, I'll try that.
Yeah, there you go. Much better.
There you go. You can see that it is really thin.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll get a really nice, that will work best on something like this where there's light. That's what I used this for this. It is visible on the grey because it's quite a light grey. It wouldn't be visible on this bit, so there's no point doing it. But when it goes into the yellow, you can see it much better. See? I think I did a bit on that one. Yeah, that one I had a good crack in the middle, so I was able to do something with that. So there you are. There you are.
Well done.
You could do the same if you've got a really, really thin white one. This one's thin-ish, but it's not that thin. It's quite fat, really, compared with the 01. So if you've got a white pen, a Signo might be a good one. Have I got a Signo over there? Is that a Signo? No, that's a water brush. My Signo is probably in here somewhere. Hiding. They're always hiding, you know. Things hide from me all the time. I can't see it. It'll be hiding in a different pot somewhere. Then I'm not coming out this year. better to point it so you can pull it towards you. I find anyway, you might be different. And I'm finding that it looks best. The places where there's a lot of ink, you use as a drawing point for lots of other lines, as if there's a lot of power there that you're pulling out, or that is leaking out in the image, you know. Excuse me, I better have a little drink. Nice cup of tea. I think I'm going to need a bit more ink. I'm running low down there. Don't forget to shake it first. Make sure it's well mixed. They don't just get the liquid, you get the microparticles or whatever it is they use to make this stuff. So as if it's just maybe this is how the Big Bang started. And you've got this boiling soup of stuff. And some of these cracks led through to another universe, maybe. Who knows? You never know what it might be. And some of the lines join up with the dots. That's fine. I'm not bothered. If they do, they do. If they don't, it doesn't matter. Here's some more splodges. I was thinking to connect them up somehow. Maybe like that. And then this is obviously a place where there's a fair bit of activity because it's a good colour. So I'm mixing now the silver from the Kuretake and the silver ink. It's just like drawing trees, really. Trees or neurons or something. There's a lot there, so let's pull a bit more out and a bit more out of there. Perhaps a bit more out of there. I like it dashing madly across the darkness. Lovely. So we've got it joining up. It could be two separate ones, but it might be all the same one.
And off to the top left is a supernova. Maybe.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Or this?
Well, that could be the planet area, and the red and yellow is the nova, whatever it's called. What do I know? I'm just listening to
you. Well, I don't know what I'm talking about either.
I'll try not to talk and cause the echo.
Gosh, guys and gals, I'm not wearing my headphones because this is just a play. This is if we ever decide to put it out for the guys and girls. We might just keep it for ourselves. Being mean like that. If you think about it as something you're not putting out for everybody, it's more freeing. Because it doesn't matter if it goes wrong. Nobody will ever see if it goes wrong.
And here's what I'm thinking. If it goes wrong, turn it over and do the other side.
Yeah, because there was quite a bit of colour on the other side. It was almost like oxides.
Yeah.
I've got some splodges here, so I'm going to continue with those as well. Trying to flatten the brush out a little bit. And we want to go into this red as well. We're not avoiding it. So, and I don't know what these, I think these are probably star nurseries, maybe? I don't know. Some more from here. I think I might leave it at that. I don't want to go too mad with those. So I think we'll stop there with that. And we'll think again, let's maybe do something with this, the black. So let's think. Maybe I should dry that first, actually. Just to be sure, let's dry that first. That gives me some thinking time too. Yes, I think that's done. So let's move that out of the way a bit. And so there was, if this is a galaxy or the Laniakea or supercluster or something like that, then it's quite likely that you're going to get dark matter as well as normal baryon matter. So let's put some dark matter in, yeah? We've got some here already that's quite dark and some here. So, yeah, let's have a bit of fun with that. So we've got the dark matter and dark energy now. Using the same sort of technique for this. And with great thing about this pen is it's not thick enough to make too big of a line unless you go over it a few times. So, I mean, if you press hard, you'll probably get a thicker line, but I don't want one, so I won't do that. So we'll take some of these dark lines to come into the red as well. And into the yellow. Branching off nicely. And then perhaps we put a little bit in the corner over here, coming from one of these darker blots maybe. This is a good thing you can do if you've got slightly dodgy hands like me. Like I can do a straight line for a while and then something will happen, it'll just jump for some reason. So if I'm doing a jiggy-jaggy line in the first place, you won't be able to tell. And obviously one is behind the other, or perhaps not. Perhaps they're interacting a bit, these two things. Who knows? We don't know. I like that this one is over the light bit, so let's take a bit out of that one and add a bit more. There. That one's a bit lonely, so we'll add a bit more to that one to make it look more natural. Well, what I think of as natural. I think that's enough. Now what about down here? We've got one here. Wandering its way up into the lighter areas. I don't want it to be isolated, so we'll do some more in different directions, even if you can't see them very well. Doesn't matter. If you look at it with a, under a microscope or something, you'll probably see it there anyway. So who cares? Nobody's going to do that. I'm not. Let's do something from this bit here. This one turned out really well, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Much better than a funny landscape. I must go back and do things with that, I don't want to give up on it just yet. And perhaps a little something just, let's see, sort of here, I think. Wending its way in and out. Well, that hasn't actually got a proper starting point, so let's give it one. I quite like that. I think that's good enough to stop. I mean, I don't want to deliberately go over all the light areas with this. I want it to look more natural than that. So that's why I haven't done any here. So I quite like that. I think that's rather good.
It's beautiful.
What do you think? It's nice and calm, and well, it's not really calm. It's quite electric, really. But it's a soothing thing to
turn it upside down. No, not one more. There you go. I don't know. That's beautiful.
When you turn it one way, you see the black. When you turn it another way, you see the silver jumps out at you.
Yep.
I do like the wafting the black lines over the light areas so that you can see them. There. Lovely. Well, that's that one. And where's the other one we did? There we are. There's the other one. They are quite different in character, aren't they? I haven't got any dark lines in here, so I could put some dark lines in there. But I don't know. I think I'll just leave it like that as at the moment. I might come back and do some dark lines if I feel bored and want to do something and can't be bothered. It's the right kind of thing for that kind of feeling. Okie dokie. So I think you better come back and we'll say bye-bye. Even though this is not live yet, so we may make it live, we may not. I don't know. So there we go. We are all sorted. Are you going to show yours?
No, I don't have anything to show.
What about the one you left to dry?
It's still wet.
Yeah, can't we see it?
I'd have to carry it back over here, and I don't want to move it again. This is the last one.
Okay, well, let's see the other one when it's dry. That would be nice. I like that. I like it. You could work around the edges with that. You could around the edges of those blobs. Yes, you could go around the edges with a dark pen, or with silver. Or put some silver in the middle as if it's coming out. Why not? Have you got any silver?
I'm not unhappy with it completely because I know after watching you with the silver in that, I know I can jimmy it up.
Yeah, things to it. Yes, exactly.
It's still a bit wet. So.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you did at least get something out of it.
Oh yeah, I've got 3 pieces that I played with.
Oh,
They're
good.
over there. Uh,
Okay. They're over there. Well, they're lost then, aren't they?
here's the one that you that I that's just horrible.
It's not. It's got something to it, that.
It's
It
overkill.
definitely has.
It
No, no. You go over some of those areas and highlight some and play with them with the little marks like this. They don't have to be the same marks as I'm using. I'm just thinking, I started thinking it looked a bit like neurons or space or something, but you could decide that looked like the inside of a seed or something, or or a distant shot of fire and thunder. I mean, it depends on what you can start just drawing on it, and then after a while you take a step back and have a look and think, oh, that looks like such and such, or this one you go, oh, that looks like so and so, or like those little ones. Where are they?
yeah,
These.
I did those other cards, which at the moment I can't find, but I did those other cards when I got to a point like this and I didn't like what I saw. I did what you did. I didn't do the lightning bolts and that like you have, or the galaxy thing, but I just followed the
I
outline.
haven't to this one yet. I've got to do work to these two.
Yeah, like that.
Those are the thingy ones. What's the word? Metallics.
Yep.
Metallics.
So I will do that with this one. And the big one that that's still way over there drying. I don't want to put the blow dryer on it. I
No,
cut that one
please.
in ATCs or journal cards and it'll be fine. Okay,
Yep.
we say goodbye because I hate this stuff.
Okay. Bye bye. Bye bye, everybody. Ending stream. We may see you, we may not. Bye bye.